Everybody, want to help do some craft? You going to have a go? You just want some treat? Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much to everybody for the feedback last week about all the videos. We really enjoyed doing them, but we didn't estimate the response we would get. So everybody has been really, really supportive and grateful for those. So we thought we would do another one this week for you. So a customer came in. I forget your first name, I'm sorry, but I know the last name, but I won't say it on video. But this is for you. You specifically asked about this technique, so I'm going to do this technique for you so that you can see it. We're going to use the Dylusions paints in different ways on the background of a page. So then the next one we do, we'll focus on the sprays, just so you can see the difference in them. So got the little Ollie here today, as a little offsider. We've got Stella there as well. What are you doing, Stella? Would you like to have a treat? Gentle, sit pretty. Good girl, thank you. And what about you, Ollie? Can you do anything clever? Eat? Good boy, well done. Yep, he's a bit special, our Ollie. Aren't you, buddy? A bit special, little old man. Anyway, so you're going to give me a hand today? Hey, we're going to do the paints. Tip number one when you're doing painting is do not wear a long sleeve white shirt. Okay, so I had to go and get a few rubber bands from the office. I'm actually going to pull this one up because I can guarantee you right now, I'm going to go with the muscle look. Oh, yeah, Ollie's out. He thinks the treats are done. Come back here, you. Come back here. Ready? Come. You going to say hello to everybody? Yes. Good boy. All right, so sleeve up. So that what we're going to do is we're going to take the Dylusions paints. Now, they used to come in these pots, which were a great size, but the problem is they've got such a large surface area that they can dry out quite quickly. The beauty of that is that if we were working with these sponges, which we're going to be working with today, these are a blending, oh, hello, first trick of the day, people. We're going to use them with these. They come as a handle, and then all the little foam bits are Velcro, so you can take them on and off. You can rewash these, and then you can buy an entire pack of refills as well. So you can allocate one to every colour, or you can just keep washing them up. So the first one you get has 2 handles and 4 sponges, and then you buy a pack of 20 sponges after that. So, and then as you can see, I just keep a whole heap of them all in there together. Some people like to keep them with the matching colours, and that those people have a lot more time in their lives than I do, clearly. So a few different ways we can put our paint on. So the first way we're going to do today is just a quick background with baby wipes. So let me just get a few of these open. And now, instead of making them as the big pots, the way they now make these, hello Stella, can you move your toes, honey, so I don't squash you? Is in a little, I'll be back. No, they're gone. Anyway, they're in a little bottle, in a little bottle like this. So they come now with a tiny little nozzle to get them out of, but they sit that way up, so the paint is always down in the dispenser bit and it won't dry out that way. So, and they're smaller, so you're likely to get through it a bit cheaper so that you can afford to have more colours than that. So the quickest way to do a quick painted background with Dylusions, well, we've got some rain here today. I hope you've all got rain. It's quite messy out there. The other thing that's handy are your messy mats. So if you take a messy mat and you put it under each page, so I'm just in one of the Dylusions journals here, if I put that under there, what happens is that I protect all the rest of the book underneath so that nothing goes on the other pages. You could use just some paper towel if you want to. The problem is if you're using spray inks, it will absorb into the towel and potentially still go through. So the messy mats are really good for that. Let's just go rubber band number 2 for this side. Sorry, didn't really think it through this morning, just went a little bit cooler weather. Okay, so what we're going to do is just take some baby wipes, just sort of fold it up a little bit here, make sure it's a nice thick one, which is good. And what these pots were good for is that you get enough paint on the lid that you don't necessarily have to dip into the entire thing. And really, it's as quick as you can just do this background effect where you just apply the paint right across, and then we can come back and blend it all in. All right. So then we can just grab another colour, just get a bit on it. You don't need an awful lot, you're just getting a bit on the top. And again, we're just going to spread it over. Now, when you get to where it joins with the other colour, you can basically just sort of blend them in together by going over it. Can you see? You sort of gently grab the last of that. Again, I mentioned last week, the biggest problem I think people have when they're trying to blend colours is that they don't use enough ink or paint. You can't blend very dry colours. It just doesn't seem to work. You have to have a decent amount to be able to get them to blend nicely. So can you see as we go over that? And the thing with the Dylusions paints is that they are designed to actually dry really rapidly. So Diane kind of works quite rapidly. She doesn't like to overthink things, and neither do I. So we can go back here, and so these paints are going to be dry really quickly, and we'll be able to put stenciling over them in the same video. So you can see I can come back with red, and I can go back over that to get a little bit darker. You can see that. See how I just softly there, and that can kind of start to bring the colours together. So you can go, you know, bring the red over the orange over the red, whichever way you want to go, and then you can just go to a fresher bit of baby white and just blend them in, just like that. Then we'll grab another third colour for the top. Oh, very wet out there today. Got all the windows open for the first time in a long time. Okay. Let's colour on here. All right. And we go back, now that I've got most of it off there, now we go back and just blend that across. Can you see? Bringing it in. So we'll do this side while we're at it. And then we're going to crack into some of the newer stencils that have been released by Diane. So I think they came out maybe just over Christmas, just before Christmas. I lose track of time, as you know, people. But that's as quick as it is to get that nice painted background look. Now, the other day we showed you a stencil, and I did some stenciling on it with a paste. This is a painted background here. So you can see that kind of smooth washed look where it's all just blended in together, and that's over it. And versus this is a spray background. So this is the kind of effect you'll get using sprays. So a little bit different, but the blending in these is just a little bit. I've got a visitor here, and can you tell why? Because there's still a smacko sitting here, isn't there? Would you like to sit pretty for everybody? Could you sit pretty? Say good morning, everybody. Good girl. What about you, Ollie? What would you like to do? You want to give a high five? High five, buddy. Oh, high 10. Okay. All right. So the wipes come in handy for that as well, little fingers. So because this paint dries quite quickly, what we can do is we can basically grab a stencil. So I'm going to take one of these stencils and quickly put this down to show you how we can put this up. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to change my mind. This is what I do. Sorry. I am going to use one of the newer ones. So this is the newer set that Diane released, and I'll explain to you why I'm changing my mind, because there is always a reason behind it, not that half the world ever understands. So these ones here are like a quilting one. So it's called a 2-inch quilt and a 1.5-inch quilt over here. And this is Square Dance. But these ones have different sections that will allow us to control where we're putting the paint, so we can actually build up some nice designs with this. So let me take this one. So I'll do something a bit different to show you just how good it is to work with the paint when you can control what it's doing. So because these are all separate little blocks, what we can actually do is, instead of going back in with a wet one, this is where we can use our blending tool. So I'll take this off here, and we're just going to get one that's fairly clean. It's been washed. They'll be stained after they're washed, but they're still technically sort of, you know, cleanish. We only need a little bit of paint on the side. If you have your glass mat, you could put it there. And we're just going to get a little bit in here, on here, and it really is a little bit. Look how much I'm rubbing it off once I get it on there. Can you see? I don't want it like saturating it. And then we're going to come back over here, and we're going to sort of line that up maybe with the corner here. Now this one is still a bit wet there, so we'll go over here. Sorry, change your plan again. That's the beauty of mixed media. You can just do what you want when you want. So can you see how I can now control where the paint goes, because I've got just a more direct application sort of technique? You could also use a little finger dauber if you want. So finger daubers are a bit smaller, and you can see how little is on that. You can't really see what's going on there. So we can just put the paint straight through and control it, and it's that easy then to get us nice little stenciled effects. So we again can control that, and we can keep going, or we can change colours in each square now by using this effect and put different colours everywhere. So, oops, someone's arrived for their free crop day out there. If you didn't want to do that kind of application with your sponging tool, the other way you could do it is to actually just go through the whole thing. So we could come back with a wet one. So this is the other way, and we could put another colour right through. So let me just grab, we'll keep it to white. The pages might end up matching at the end, you never know. No guarantees. All right, so again, we're just going to put a bit out. Okay, and this time, so back over where we've already done that painted background, and we're just going to go through the whole stencil with the baby white this time. So we'll have the same technique over the top, but we'll have this nice pattern come through. Now be careful about sort of swiping underneath too much, only because you might pull it underneath it there, so you just want to be a bit careful. You could go your sponging tool and come back over here and do that on it as well. It's up to you, but so you can pounce a little bit with that. Nice little folky art term there. So putting all the colour through. Don't let it move. If you need to tape it down, use some of your washi tape or a repo tape or your purple tape, anything like that, just to hold it in place. And you can also stick a piece of paper over this page so that you don't accidentally put colour onto it where you don't want it. And we'll just build up the layers of colour here to get it a little bit stronger. Just because it's white, we're still going to see through it a bit, but once we do a couple of layers, it'll get nice and stronger. Let's see. All right. Okay, so you can stencil straight through. See, I got a bit smudgy there with it. It's a bit wet and pulled it through a bit too much. So you can go that way for doing it, but your backgrounds are definitely the key winner for doing that kind of quick background effect. And that's the effect that we've got on that new card set that's out the front. So that Sandra put together for us last week. Now, because that's pretty much dry there already, I can put this down over here now, and I can go over here and just do a sprayed background for you quickly to show you. Remembering that this has got paint on it. Surprise. Let's grab, move over, Ollie. Run your little toes over, buddy. All right. So with your paints, the sprays, sorry, they're a bit different. They're obviously very liquid, and they're going to make a bit more of a mess. So what you want to do with those is you want to get puddles, okay? And you definitely have to have something between your pages so that they don't sink. But what you're going to do is you're going to put your colours down, and you're going to get really nice, heavy puddles, all right? And then with your puddles, we'll be able to pull over. And you can see how this will blend by itself just because of the moisture. Now you can spritz the page first, which will actually help everything move a bit with a bit of water. So very light spray of water, sort of do it in the air and just let the water drop down. I didn't bring one out with me this morning because it was a quick last minute thing, but that's okay. I'll tell you what to do anyway. So can you see how nice and wet that is? This is a bit dry up here, so nothing's going to press from there. So that's how wet we get it. And then we can basically just push this page over, and we can take our paper towel. Again, Sharon, you're not very organised today. What are you doing? Have a roll of paper towel and push it over all of that. And what the paper towel will do is catch all the stuff that comes out the edges. So I'll just grab that. And so pushing that on there, and then peel your pages apart, and it'll actually do your colour on both your pages. And then you can just mop up the excess down the middle so that it doesn't bleed right through there. And if there's little bits like that, you can just fill them in with your finger. So you can see that this is more of a real bleeding kind of coverage, whereas with your painting one, it's very much more just a nice smooth, and it even feels really beautiful, like a satin type finish on it. So that's how you get those satin backgrounds, and then this is how you get the sprayed backgrounds. This kind of background allows you to then put your stencil down over it. Ideally, if it just dries a fraction. Hold that thought, let me grab the paper towel. Okay, so that was paint onto pages. What I'll quickly show you now is some of the sprays, okay, just to see the difference in the two finishes that you get. So when you're going to use the sprays in your book, you're going to want to put your messy mats down again in under your pages, and that's just going to, oh, wrong page, slide it in under here. And that's just going to stop any excess stuff rolling in behind. So 2 smaller mats are good for that, or you can buy 1 big mat and cut it down, but they're just, yeah, just good to protect that. You could just use scrap paper, paper towel, but again, this is going to sort of catch it a bit better and not soak it through. Either way, it all works nicely. I guess the other thing would be even doing it both ways. So what you get, the benefit from doing both, is that this will protect anything that does end up seeping down, but this will actually absorb it first. So it'll absorb the bits so that you don't actually even have them go around. Either way, whatever you choose is fine. If you don't choose anything, that's fine. It's just for fun. Now, this is a water bottle, and they spray differently. Different bottles spray in different ways. So this bottle here is going to give you a little misting. Don't look at my, can you see how it's just a mist kind of thing? Whereas these tend to spray more. Can you see how much further it goes? So they come in a small little misting bottle, $3, or a spritzer bottle there, and they're $4.99, those ones there. Mine's just a bit smaller because that's what we had before, but we've got the nice darkroom door ones now. Over the background, what you want to do is you just want to mist. And you can see I don't do it on the page, I'm just doing it above and letting it just sort of fall on. And that's just going to add just a little film of moisture at the bottom so that when we pop our sprays on now, they will sort of sit on it and move nicely. So we're just going to throw some paint colour on here. And just let these mix together nicely to give us a nice background. Now you can see I'm making real puddles. Can you see? It's not about just a little, you don't just do like that kind of thing. If you want to get a nice full coverage and you want it to all blend, you cover one whole page and then you can simply take the other page over and then roll your paper towel over it. And what that does is it acts as a roller, but anything that comes out the edge, it also catches it all for you and absorbs it, just like that bit of paper underneath. So just rolling that around the edge, and then when you pick it up, you will have the colour on both sides. And then you can just tap down the middle here just to pick up the excess so that it doesn't bleed through the spine there. If you are worried about the tiny little bit you see in there, just get your paintbrush and just put a little tiny bit in the middle so it's not too wet. Now we can roll over this, and that again is fairly dry really quickly, and we can go straight into working on top of it. Okay, so there's two things we could sort of go on with, there's 102 things, but for today, 2 things that we're going to do, all right? So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to put this down, and we're going to go back to our little misting bottle, and I'm just going to put a bit of water over it. And so this quick little effect is called ghosting, and what it does is it reactivates, because these inks are going to reactivate every time you wet them, okay? They're going to reactivate, and they're going to do whatever you want them to do after that, and blend again, pick up some colour. This time we're picking up colour, so we're going to go over here and just roll that. Now we just leave this one sit here for a minute. So what we've actually done is we've just got the water through there, and we've pulled some of that colour up, and you can leave that sit a bit longer, and then we're going to pick this one up. And can you see that we just end up with that pattern coming through now, a bit darker, and as it dries, it will get even more prominent. And depending how long you leave the water sit on there can change that as well. Just roll that off now so you can see it. And so that's just using water to get that effect. Obviously, we could do the same thing on the other page, but we could actually use a colour this time. So we'll go back in with one of the colours we used. So this is Peony Blush, Lemon Zest, and Tangerine Dream that I've used. So they're colours that have been around forever. And we'll just put a little bit of colour through here. And we don't have to do the whole page. I've already got the Peony Blush up here. So I might just put a little bit down here and a little bit here. I could go in with a bit of this Tangerine Dream and put a bit there. And again, I'm just going to, you don't have to do this, because if you didn't do this, you could actually press the ink off the top of that as well. So that's going to give us a different look down there. Can you see there? And again, we can just mop up a little bit of excess off the top. So same inks, same sprays, same everything. We've just got some slightly different effects going there. There's no reason you can't go in and do more. The other thing that you can do though, if I had just sprayed this with a colour here, let's just get adventurous. Let me line that back up a bit. Let's just go in for it all. Let's throw, oh, what is this colour? Oh, that's very red-ish. Let's try this one, okay? We're just going to put a bit of Fiery Sunset. It's a bit darker. That's the other trick too. Before you use your sprays, if you hold them upright and just spray them into a bit of paper towel, you'll be able to see that they're spraying nicely. If they're coming out with all different, angles and squirty bits in all different, ways, take your nozzle off and give it a little wash, okay? If we put this down over the top though, and we put a little bit here and here, and again, we may just have a slightly different colour. We can go as many layers as we want here. I'm just going to leave that there, pick this piece up, right? And we've got our colours that are going on there. We could actually come over here. I'll just dry that quickly because I'm going to turn the page. And again, we can turn the page. It's not going to, they dry so quickly that I'm not too worried about what happens. But I can come onto this page now. And with all of this ink that's left on here, if it was drying up, I could give it a quick mist with my water mister, and then I can put it down. And this is going to give us another pattern on the background. And we use all that ink and we're not wasting it. And Susie loves when we don't waste ink. And so that's just from the other side of the stencil. And again, we could take what's left on here again. There's still more. Spritz it again and use it on the other side. Or you could use it on other pages through the book that you've got other things on. So you're just adding more and more little details in your background, which is what mixed media is all about. So you can see we got all that just off the ink that was left on there. So there's a few different things you can do with your ink sprays and your paints there. If we can get back to our paint page, we've got a few wet pages going on now. Just move these to the side. Again, I'll never be one of those YouTube people that does videos for you because I'm way too messy for that. I can't control all my mess. Come back over here. Where's our other little painted page we did, Mickey? We've lost it. Somewhere in here we had a painted page that we did earlier. Maybe it's the other direction. We've lost it. It's gone. Oh, there it is. We found it. Stop. So this is your paints, remember, when we blended them together? And then this is our ink sprayed backgrounds. And then this is just picking up all the leftover ink off the stencil. So if you like that idea, if you don't feel brave enough to start on your own at home, Susie does a class every month, generally on a Sunday. So there's hopefully a chance, you know, that you have finished all your other commitments for the week and can make it. Check our calendar, jump on the website, aplacetocreate.com.au, go to the classes and have a look. And we'd love to see you. You don't have to own everything to come to those classes. We're happy to help you out a bit to start with while you get your things together and decide if it's for you. Anyway, that's Dylusions. Hope you love it as much as we do. We carry lots of it in store and you're welcome to come and have a look at any time. See you all soon.